The unemployment rate remains at 5.1%, defying the consensus among economists that it would rise. However, the number of full-time workers has fallen by 45,000 over the past year, giving way to a rise in part-time work. As Zane Small reports, it mirrors a subdued domestic economy on the back of global uncertainty.
Liz Whedon is launching her new business in central Auckland, Normanby Fine Wine and Spirits. A retail store with a carefully curated selection of wines, spirits, sakes and craft beers.
You know, you've got everything from sort of 2020 vintage, 2016, you got 2012 here. In fact,
but really operating a business in an economic slowdown isn't easy.
It's very costly to operate in retail at the moment. You know, all of the costs are higher.
And that includes paying staff.
The big thing was actually making the commitment to employ people full time.
Today's update from Stats NZ showed the unemployment rate unchanged for the 3 months to March at 5.1%. However, the number of full-time workers fell by 45,000 over the past year, and the number of Kiwis working part-time jumped by 25,000.
Underlying details are reasonably soft. I think the New Zealand economy is really struggling to gain momentum at the moment. I think that the events overseas are sort of adding to uncertainty.
A lot of what we're doing is imported wine, and certainly the last few weeks have not seen the exchange rate be favourable for us. And then all the uncertainty with shipping, with supply globally. Yeah, it's challenging.
That's reflected in the Reserve Bank's Financial Stability Report out today. It states that while lower interest rates are reducing debt servicing costs and easing financial stress for borrowers domestically, risks to global economic growth have increased sharply after the US imposed sweeping tariffs on goods imports from New Zealand and our major trading partners, which has caused heightened financial market volatility and could lead to a slowdown in global economic activity.
There's still a considerable amount of uncertainty about how that plays out and where those tariffs end up as the dust settles. That will impact on global demand.
The upside to softer demand is that it's helped to alleviate price increases. Labour cost growth has slowed to 2.5%, the lowest in 3.5 years, which points to further moderation in consumer price inflation. That's good news for the Reserve Bank, which is tasked with keeping price rises under control.
As a result, we think the Reserve Bank will move from a position of trying to slow the economy to try and support it.
Liz Whedon understands her customers will be sensitive to the economic conditions.
Really looking at very good price points for customers.
But she's optimistic.
We wouldn't be investing what we have in this business if we didn't see the hope. This store is the first venture for us, but we see huge opportunity.
And that is seeing the glass half full.
Indeed. Well, so, Zane, where to from here?
Well, all the forecasts said that unemployment would peak in the middle of this year, and the consensus seems to be that we are nearing or perhaps have reached the peak of the unemployment rate. Job ads remain subdued, but economists at Infometrics say we could see the ship begin to turn over the next few months. Of course, later this month, the Reserve Bank will provide an official cash rate update, and it's widely expected to deliver another cut. The Financial Stability Report out today says economic growth is expected to increase this year as lower borrowing costs and high agricultural export prices support demand. So perhaps Liz Whedon's optimism is well placed.
OK, Zane, thanks so much.